Hi, Take the Leap listeners. Thanks for putting Ashlan and I in your ears again today. Before we jump into this episode, we wanted to let you know that we've created a fun freebie just for you. If you've been thinking about launching your side gig or small business, we've got a free video training just for that called 9 Steps to Launch Your Business. You can sign up for that video now at www.taketheleap-today.com/webinar to get instant access. You'll also receive 2 free modules from our signature Take the Leap course. Thanks, and now back to the episode.
Take the Leap is the podcast where we get real about the roller coaster that is entrepreneurship and life. Sure, some folks make running a business look like a walk in the park, but let's be honest, it's more like a wild ride through a theme park with a lot of unexpected twists and turns.
Join us, your co-hosts, Ashlan
and Tori,
as we spill the beans on our own real-life experiences and shine a spotlight on some amazing guests. From the highs of success stories to the lows of epic failures. And hey, we'll even throw in some cringe-worthy, laugh-out-loud, embarrassing moments for good measure.
So buckle up and tune in every Tuesday and Thursday for a dose of raw, unfiltered truth about what it's really like to chase your dreams and build a business.
Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just dipping your toes into the startup world, we've got something for everyone. Even if it's just to make you think, wow, I'm glad I didn't do what they did.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Take the Leap podcast. We are so excited to have Natalia K. O'Brien with us again. She was on season 1 with us, and she is back to chat with us for season 2. Natalia is a convener, a change maker, an emergent strategist living and working on the ancestral lands of the Chinook, Clatskanie, Cathlamet, and Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde and Siletz, also known as Portland, Oregon. A lifelong feminist, out and proud queer and activist, Natalia moved to the Pacific Northwest in 1999, drawn by the more laid-back and progressive vibe, good coffee, riot girls, and the DIY arts and music scene. In 2004, Natalia co-founded Siren Nation, a presenting arts organization dedicated to showcasing women artists, which still exists today. Since then, she has dedicated her career to work that centers and uplifts marginalized communities. Natalia loves leveraging her skills as a strategist, visionary, community builder, and communicator to support projects that advance social justice, celebrate diversity, and promote equity. She has held a wide range of positions ranging from volunteer coordinator to camp director, development director to program manager, and took the leap to consulting in 2023, making Affinity projects the full-time home of her continued work. When not working, Natalia lives with her 2 kitties, who very capably supervise her gardening efforts, puzzles, occasional forays into cooking, baking, and canning, and many arts and crafts projects. When not at home, Natalia loves exploring the vast and wild beauty of the Pacific Northwest as a hammock camper and day tripper. Thank you, Natalia, for coming back on the podcast with us. And I do know your kitties. They are very fun, and they do love to supervise.
I've got one right here on my left-hand side, just settling down after a little snack, taking a bath, getting ready to be in his basket and supervise me.
Nice.
Oh my goodness.
Dexter is my young, handsome fellow that's here right now, and Panda is my elder woman cat that's being her usual catty bitchy self.
Just got a lot of
feelings,
thoughts about how things are going.
They are both tuxedo cats, and they tend to be vociferous, and she talks a lot. Like, if she lets you pet her the whole time, she's meowing in a unclear if we like this kind of way, but she to pet her occasionally.
I love
That's really cute.
It's very, she's a very cat.
Yes, it's all on her terms. She is the boss of all things. She's the top. She dictates all the things. She makes all the decisions, like, all on her terms. And I respect that. We live in consent in my home.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Perfect. Well, since our last episode with you, which I didn't even look up how long ago it was, but it was
I'm
probably
wondering,
a
I
good
think it was
year
more
or
than a
more
year.
ago. Yeah. It was a more than a year. I think you were like early on in our start
I
of
think we
season
were,
1.
yeah.
Yeah. But what have you been up to? What are the new things
Tell us.
that are
Well,
happening with you?
there is so much happening right now. It's kind of a lot, but it's all really wonderful. So since we saw each other last, I at that moment had a primary client who I was working with as a fractional fundraiser, and Ashlan and I had the privilege and opportunity to work together in that project, and I was with them all the way through the beginning of this year. And we were actually on contract for me to continue working with them on, an ongoing basis for all of 2025. And then Trump got inaugurated in February. And by the end of the month, I had lost my contract because of the financial implications of losing federal funding. That was clear, like very quickly. We were preparing to apply for grants, and then those grants disappeared. Just like went offline and poof,
Yeah.
magically disappeared. And so the contract dried up as a result of that. And so I was pretty clear at that point that I did not want I did not want that same job again. I loved doing that job. I loved working with that client. I so proud of the work that I did with them. It was all the way around like a really fantastic experience. But by the time it did end, I felt like I'm just not looking for more of this. When I decided to become a consultant, I frankly didn't really want to continue working as a fundraiser, but that was the first contract that fell in my lap. Right. So that's what I've been doing. But on the sidelines, I've also been hosting this quarterly happy hour called Gather. And that was something that I started even before I knew before I had a contract in my first year of business in 2023. I launched Gather. Ashlan was one of my first co-host sponsors and partners to kind of come on board, and um, uh, it's still going now, 3 years later. And so when I had the opportunity to kind of take a pause and really think about what I want to be doing, and how I want to be spending my time, how I can best serve my community, how can I show up right now in this really particularly crazy hard moment when our sector is getting rocked, and I now am I'm not in the sector, but I work adjacent to and not going anywhere. Like the nonprofit sector, mission driven work is where I need to be. But it was sort of like a moment and an opportunity in my business to say, okay, now what? Now what do I want to offer, or what can I offer right now that will meet this particular moment? How can I best do that? And what does that look like? And after a lot of soul searching and honestly praying and really trying to listen to myself and my heart, and also a lot of listening to what's happening in the world around me and the communities that I'm a part of. What I really came to was I'm a convener. That's what I really love doing. That's what Gather is. It's bringing people together. And I've been doing it all my life since I was in college. Sometimes it looks like a conference, sometimes like putting together a conference. Sometimes it looks like putting together a happy hour. Sometimes it looks like even promoting a spoken word artist and getting her on the road in front of audiences so that she can get her message out there to people who need validation about who they are, because it's 1996 and queer visibility is not a thing that exists in the world yet, right? I've always loved bringing people together. And I think I've always brought a very kind of collaborative, intersectional conceptualization of like what it means to do an event. Like as I just, I've been doing a lot of reflecting about like, where are my strengths? Where are my skills? What are the things that I just come back to over and over again and that I love doing and that are feel easy for me, right? Like where I'm just really existing in my zone of genius. If you
Zone of genius, yeah.
right, like
In
my
your
strengths, like
flow,
really like
yeah, all the
operating from
things.
the place
Yeah.
where like this is
Yeah.
what is just naturally like my gift, if I could say that. And yeah, it kind of like ticks all the boxes for me. So I'm now starting to kind of go deeper into convening in two like opposite ways simultaneously. And Ashlan's laughing because she
I know, because I'm familiar with what she's going to share.
so like Gather in a lot of ways, like initially for me, it's like, I need community. I'm going to do this event because I want to be around other nonprofit professionals who give a shit. And I know they're there because I meet them all the time, but I never get to hang out with them. And God, wouldn't I love to just like hang out with all these great people that over the years I have met at all these different like rooms and tables and networks that I've been a part of. And so like that was a natural, easy kind of project to create for myself to do because it was very selfish in many ways, right? It was like, I need a cohort, I need community, but also I believe this is something that other people need and want and desire for themselves. And it was really clear from the get-go when like 45 people show up, like off the bat, the very first time we have a happy hour. And like that, I haven't been to a lot of professional events in this town where that happens. And
Yeah.
So, and then I get like feedback, right? Like I'm always surveying attendees to kind of get the feedback from them about how things are going. Well, one of the biggest pieces of feedback I get from people is they want something that's a little bit more structured and a little bit more has like a program, right? Like it has some kind of talking or something happening that somebody's facilitating the space in some way. And I don't offer that at Gather. It is a very informal kind of situation, but it's made me realize and recognize how much people are craving and desiring to be in community with other like-minded people, and that's something I can do. I'm like really well positioned to do that as somebody who's hosting a quarterly happy hour that's giving me a newsletter that's grown like doubled in size in the last year. Now it's just like, well, yeah, I can convene because now people sort of expect that from me on some level. So I'm going micro and I'm collaborating with a partner on doing small cohorts that are like 6 to 12 size groups, professional peers, and the facilitator and I are there to provide structure and support. So it can be a very facilitated time and space to connect with other folks who are doing similar work. Part of it is peer support, right? But part of it is also like using it as an opportunity to operate from a more collective perspective and start to like maybe do some collaboration or build the relationships that are required in order for organizations to do work with each other, right?
Yeah.
That's
It
incredible.
takes a little bit of time to build that rapport with folks. But yeah, what you've built with Gather, it works so well. Like just a free no host happy hour. Like I think back to the times when I've been a part of the American Marketing Association, where we're like, oh, we need a program, we need a thing. And it's like, sometimes just events where people just get to show up to be around other people is so important. I mean, going back to how Tori and I connected after volunteering with the AMA, it was literally just to be in community with other people who were solo marketers.
In marketing.
We don't need much more. And there's actually a huge amount of value in, I mean, I think like we are coming to learn and understand this more and more through science and like psychology and neurobiology. Like there are so many things that support our need to be together and to be in community. Absolutely. Like that's the fabric that weaves us together, right? Like if we don't have spaces where we're connecting socially and we're just working together, like something's really missing there, right? And I think that's clearly what we're seeing in this particular moment we are in our country, socially and politically. Like people are feeling, I think ultimately like really alone.
Well, and capitalism and just our country in general pushes us to be individualistic and to be in competition with each other, as opposed to, like if I have more if I have more resources and capabilities, like everybody has their own individual, strengths. And I just went to an in-person networking thing here because I'm trying to build my network in Vegas, because I can't just keep flying back up as much as I love Gather. I can't just fly in to come to Gather every once in a while. But I was able to connect with some folks afterwards and just like share that like, hey, I have like ready to go workshops. I'm hopefully going to be able to go present at a women's shelter for folks who are survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. Like that was the nonprofit that was like the winner of some award at the event. And I like immediately afterwards was like, hey, this is like a cause area that is really near and dear to me. And they were like, we would love if you would just come talk for like 10 minutes about entrepreneurship. And they're like, you can totally, well, by the way, I haven't told you this yet, Tori, but I can pitch Take the Leap. They're like, we don't mind that you pitch, things as resources for folks. But, a lot of folks who are survivors of DV, they need help getting back on their feet and, have had, for various reasons, might not have access to the same resources that they did when they were with their partner. So what a cool way. But if I didn't show up at that networking event, if I didn't, like connect with the folks, with that mission, like there's just, you never know how close or how far degrees of connection are from folks. So really cool that you're bringing that space together, because you do think a lot of folks, they don't know how, that's not their strength area to go.
That makes sense.
Well.
So I'm like, there's an opportunity for me there if that's a space where people don't feel comfortable and are, like don't know how to go about doing it. I'm like, I got you. This I can do.
That's like in your zone of genius. That's awesome. Well, and if you just kind of look at like society over the last 5 years too, it's just like you were saying, like right now there's so much happening in the world, so much negativity, and people are feeling so alone. But then I also think COVID really impacted the way we connect with other people. And in some ways it's great that everybody's really comfortable doing things virtually now, but it's almost like we forgot how to do things in person. And so it's been a struggle in the business world and even just with friendships to get yourself back out there and meet other people in real life and connect. And I think right now more than ever, Ashlan, you and I talk about this on almost every episode, like community is so important. And it's the only way we're going to fucking get through this. Like,
Exactly.
It's the only fucking way.
Like, collaborate.
We have to be able to connect with each other.
Are going to get through because we're going to help one another and we're going to figure it out. And people who do not collaborate are going to sink. Because
I just had a funny thought. If you watch all the post-apocalyptic TV shows and stuff like that, who survives? Is it the people all alone by themselves, or is it the people that learn to work? It's the people who learn to work.
This is exactly it. Yes.
Yep.
So
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
because you can't
Right,
do
like,
everything
I
by
have my
yourself,
zone of
and you can't
genius.
know
Somebody else has a
everything.
different
Yeah.
zone of genius. Thank God, because like like I can't do all the things. I don't
Yeah.
want to do all the things, but like it's a very I keep
Exactly.
it's a very basic organizing principle, right? We are stronger together. Together, collectively, we have more. We have resources. We can share things. Like
Yes.
if we act as a collective, could really get so much more accomplished, right, than we are right now. And so
Yeah.
this is sort of the other place that my work is going is, or it's going like this micro level into how can I like help hold these containers of smaller groups of people so they can really build like good relationships with one another that are premised on like being a collective and like we are sharing our resources with one another. We are here to help one another. We are here to help identify like where we're being redundant and we could eliminate some overlap, right? Like getting strategic is something that I think also is going to be really, really important. Like if you are not strategic right now, you also don't have a chance of lasting. If you're not really thinking about like big picture, long term, what you're doing and where you're going, I think it's going to be really hard for any organization or business to really be successful. This time requires boldness, right? Like it is not a time for the same old, same old. It is a time to do new things and new ways for all the crazy, the hard, the terrible political realities that are happening right now. It is also an opportunity, right? Like the norms, all of the norms are off, all bets are off, whatever, whatever used to go doesn't like nothing, right? And that's an opportunity as much as it is anything else for us right now. Um, so on a macro level, I'm working on a summit to bring together Portland area nonprofits in October to have conversations, to be in dialogue with one another, kind of to do what's happening at Gather in a facilitated, larger scale kind of way, where again, having conversations about how we can support one another, how we can be working a little bit smarter and a little bit less hard, potentially. Like there's definitely opportunity.
Mhm.
I believe, for organizations to work less hard if they were being more collaborative with one another. And so I'm finding collaborators left and right who like share the vision, like Ashlan, and just had a meeting earlier today with somebody who's like, yes, I'm on board. And I'm getting a lot of positive yes responses from people. It's really fascinating right now. Again, like what is to me together. Yeah, like people want to be together right now. And I think, again, like
Mhm.
there aren't these pre-existing networks or coalitions, or there aren't a lot of them, or they aren't long lasting from what I've seen in the Portland area. And so really want to like provide an opportunity for folks to come together and like for one, like shift our mentality from a scarcity mentality to one of abundance. Because I think that the scarcity mentality really gets in our way. And it also kind of like hand in hand with a rampant individualism thing. Like for whatever reason, we all feel like we all need to figure it out and we all need to do it and we all need to like create like a little nonprofit when in reality, like that's a lot of work to have to create a business
Yeah.
essentially, right? To create a
Yes.
organizational structure.
Mhm.
Like this is much, much more than mission delivery or service delivery. Um, and I think that's where we are not being strategic, right? Like people are just heart-filled people who have a lot of passion and they have a thing that they see and they want to do the thing, but they don't look around enough to see who else is doing something maybe similar. And so in a way, like it does create a situation of scarcity where like too many people are trying to get too few resources. And like maybe if we just talked a little bit more, we could figure out a way for all of our orgs to go down to 3/4 capacity and have like better shared infrastructure that was supporting us operationally so that we could just focus on mission delivery, right? And not worry about ops, because ops is the shit that really like gets in the way for, I think, a lot of small nonprofits. And that's the vast majority of nonprofits that I'm thinking about and talking about, is like the 80% that are under $1 million budgets, right? They're doing the less.
Oh yeah. It's like 70%, I think, of nonprofits in Oregon are under even 500K. Like not even just
wow.
From a resource perspective, it is not a good use of resources, right? It's really like there's finite resources in Oregon. We are getting less and less resources from a federal level coming down now. And like, we are not a wealthy state. We don't generate a lot of revenue as a state, frankly, like compared to Washington or California. Like, we do peanuts. That means we can have the tax base, right? And we don't have the like revenue as a state to be able to support the nonprofit sector. That's like potentially going to crumble while the need is going to surge for the kinds of services that we provide, right? Yes. And like those of us who are in the sector, we see that and we know that that's what's happening and that's what's coming down the pike. And if we could collaborate, we might actually like be able to get through this stronger and learn how to be strategic.
Yeah.
And make a bigger impact.
Yes. Yes. We need to stop playing the nonprofit Hunger Games, honestly, because it is really like it very much.
I don't think it's just Oregon. I think it's everywhere. I think nonprofits in a capitalist system were never set up for success. We are often, like we are used for nefarious purposes so that corporations can rehabilitate their. That's a very cynical perspective, but I do believe that in the vast majority of cases, that's true. And we see that right now, right? With like the way the corporate money is like disappearing like a fucking riptide. Like prides aren't happening all across this country because corporations don't give a shit anymore. They gave a shit last year because they wanted my money to buy stuff in their pride display at the store. Where are they now? I don't care about being able to get things at Target that have rainbows on them. I want my pride to happen. I want my pride parade.
Right.
Yeah.
Or for me and for other people.
Yeah. It's for the next generation of folks too. Like,
you got me all worked up there.
No, it's all good.
It also shows like you show your true colors too when you're no longer like it's no longer cool or whatever, or the new administration's in, so you don't feel like you have to perform,
and we
you
knew
know
that.
which ones
we
were
knew that, right? Like we fucking knew that it was a performance. We knew that the corporate love of LGBTQ people is just a way to sell rainbow things to us. Like I'm not surprised. People who are surprised are very, very naive.
No.
If they thought that corporations actually cared about our rights, right? Our joy. They don't. So, wow.
No.
How did we get here, y'all?
Yeah.
I keep asking myself that. I keep,
like the
how did we get here?
Yeah. Song. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's a Talking Head song.
What's that?
Something to this effect. Whatever.
Oh yeah.
Letting the days go by.
Yes, I do.
How do we get here? Who fucking knows? How do we get here?
Yes.
So,
what I want to know is how do we keep making the same fucking mistakes?
Well,
that's
right.
The loop of bad habit.
That's the one that's
here's one of the
me.
things, right? Like somebody said this to me once and it really stuck. They're like, we will fall back on normal when we don't know what to do. Because that's just what we know.
Yeah.
And so like there's a lot of we don't know right now and a lot of feeling really scared. So it's real easy to just fall back on like what we know. It's comfortable. Right. And again, like it's an opportunity. Like we don't have to do that. we could choose to actually like
Right.
make the pivot, right? Like do the thing. And
Right.
so like, I hope in my summit, I can like play one little tiny part in bringing people to the table who feel the same way. I've got a committee of people now who hold the same vision, who, believe in the power of the collective. They believe in movement. They believe in social justice. That is kind of core to all of it. And that like, maybe it's, we're creating a big network of like mutual aid on an organizational level, or it's even down more in the weeds of like, we're going to figure out how to just take care of ourselves right here in Portland and then in Oregon to the best of our ability, given the abundance of like wisdom and skills and resources and creativity that we have in the folks that I meet all the time in the nonprofit sector. This, it's like a rife with really passionate people who care.
Yeah.
And I think, with like some really great facilitation, like, it's like we have all the wisdom, we have all the answers, we know what we need to do, we have everything, just need to come up with a plan, right? And not get too like hung up on the details and the tactics, and just like agree, like, can we have like a strategy maybe? And then like, we're all needed to get there in different ways, right? Like the different zones of genius. It's not like one thing is going to make our world change.
Right.
Well, and I think what I'm really excited for your summit/unsummit is that visioning piece, because I think, the best thing that you can do now is have that aspirational vision of what it could look like and take the action. Because I do feel like when we first, like with nonprofits, when the executive orders came down and it was first happening, everybody's just like, oh my God, we'll wait and see.
Absolutely.
We are beyond wait and see.
Right.
It is not going to improve. He's going to figure
Yeah.
out more fucking things to take away from us. And the only thing that we can do, because there's a lot more humans in the US than there are the idiots in the White House, just calling them out there. There's a lot more of us than there are of them. And we still have the ability to do things within, within legal means.
And we're talking about like the people who are running the organizations, who are doing the frontline work every day, getting people off the streets, getting people into housing, getting people fed. Like, people aren't going to stop doing that work. That work is never going to stop happening, regardless of the money that's there for it. That's so, like, the need is going to start going up simultaneously while the funding is shrinking. The need is going to start to increase, because we're going to see economic fallout, like far beyond what we've seen thus far. Yeah.
Already. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it's just like kind of like what you were saying earlier, and also just kind of pointing back to like COVID, like the world around us is changing like at a really rapid pace right now in some really negative ways. And we know that we don't know what exactly is coming, but we know something's coming. We know things are coming. We know it's not going to get better. We need to make some changes. The same thing happened like around COVID time, where it was like, okay, maybe we'll stay in our houses for 2 weeks. Okay, now it's like a month. Okay, I know, right? We were so naive. And if you were running a business or a nonprofit at the time, you had to make a decision at some point. And that was, am I just going to sit here and wait it out and keep rescheduling my in-person events and my donor events and galas and everything like that? Or am I going to start getting creative and finding new ways to engage with my donors, with my customers, with my clients, whoever? And I think the same thing's happening right now. Like, there are things that we just can't control, but if we don't evolve with the times, we are not going to do well. And so, and like, that's the point of this. And that's the point of entrepreneurship in general anyway, is like there are things outside of us that we just can't control. The industries change, things evolve, new technologies come in. That was already a given. And then you just throw in our weird, unprecedented times into the mix. And and that's just how it's going to be. And so can you figure out different ways of doing things? And that's really
and
the
I
big
think
question.
what I've kind of come to in like reflecting on these questions about like what's effective and what do we need, like what do we need to do, what do we need to be, I I'm like losing my train. I keep coming back to like connection. Like people want to be connected to one another. People are lonely, and there's a very bright line from people being lonely to like the how fractured the society is right now. Right? Like when you are alone, it's much easier to be hopeless by yourself than it is to be hopeless in a room full of other people. Right?
People. Yeah.
And which is why like the visioning piece is really, really important. Like, and yes, just thinking about the sort of like conceptually, like if we're always focused on them and what they're doing, we are never building the world that we want. Yeah, they get all of our attention, all of our focus, all of our energy, all of our anger, all of our ire, and they don't fucking deserve it, frankly. They really don't, you know.
No, it's very true.
So, yeah, I think like it's so basic that like we've just overlooked it for millennia. Like I would say like the patriarchy and white supremacy culture like have devalued relationships and created a very transactional world, right? That is about capitalism and transactions. And the truth is like we can live collectively and collaboratively very well, and we've done it for thousands of years. We know how to take care of each other.
Yeah.
And that's the people who are in the nonprofit sector come to it to take care of one another, right? Like most people don't come at it with nefarious purposes. I mean, we know there's nefarious people. And we've all encountered them. But, right, like ultimately, most of the people who are in the sector are in it because we care, right? And people just want something to do. Like that's something else that is the antidote to the hopelessness, right? Is like doing something, and getting in community is doing something. Yeah. And it might not feel like a lot, but it's actually just doing that and nothing else is like where most of the power is like you feel the energy of being around other people, right? You talk to people who reflect back to you your values, and that's so affirming and wonderful to be in that kind of space. And you're like, oh, I'm not alone. Even when I'm alone, I'm going to know that I'm not alone.
Right.
Well, and then you learn that people share, like, I think that a lot of times too, folks, especially, you know, since we see this fragmentation of nonprofits that kind of do some of the same things, is that like, we do really have a shared vision, but it's not being talked about. Like if you can go, you know, across the annual report and like the vision statements and mission statements of like nonprofits who are doing similar things. We all want the end game that is similar. And I do want to also like call out funders, because I feel like our funding landscape is they only want to do the stuff that has worked before. Well, some of that shit doesn't work anymore because we're not in the same context as we were when we developed that program. So like I'm really excited for your summit, because we're going to problem solve and look at new things. But also, many funders don't fund fucking innovation, and we need more of them to step up, because like there's always this like, oh, it takes too long. Well, it's like, well, yeah, because we're building a new fucking plane, you know, and flying it at the same time and trying to figure it all out. And so that often doesn't get funded, and that's annoying that it doesn't get funded, because they want the tried and true, they want the things with outcomes and metrics. And because we are battling in a world of fascists, I'm just gonna call it out, we're battling fascists right now. We gotta come up, you know.
And like if I had to like write a grant proposal for my event, I could fucking do it, and I could give you outcomes and metrics and like concrete things if I really, really had to. I would prefer not to.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I do. I
What's gonna come
agree.
through.
I mean, like, I think now is the best time there has ever been for funders to like really step up and do something meaningful. And one of the things that I'd like to put on the table for funders to really seriously consider, like when it comes to taking care of these really trenchant social issues like houselessness and poverty, is long-term funding. Let's stop dinking around with 2 and 3 years worth of funding. Part of how the Republicans got where they did now is by funding organizations for 10 and 20 years at a go. If you imagine how differently a social service agency would do things if they knew their funding was guaranteed for the next 10 years. What would they do?
So different.
Right? And like, are you not going to be committed to houselessness next year and the year after and the year after and the year after? Like, commit to it.
I mean, the whole thing of nonprofits is you have, like, when you, for the folks who don't know, when you become an incorporated as a nonprofit, like your mission that you put on everything, like you have to stay committed, committed to that. That is what your 501c3 status is based on, is that core mission. So like, they're not changing, a nonprofit is not changing it year to year. They're going to be doing, whatever that main cause is for the time being. And I think it's super, super important to remember that the need the need of every nonprofit has always grown. Like there's never been a time where we finished our mission, we're shutting down. Like,
everybody's good now.
There's been no nonprofit that I think has ever been able to do that. The only ones that I've seen is like foundations
very
that are
specific issue.
you
have to focus on a very specific issue.
Yeah.
But if it's a broader like domestic violence, poverty, houselessness, these are trenchant social issues, right? And we have a government that refuses to provide any social support and any social networks. Like, it's no surprise we have as many people living in poverty in the richest country in the world as we do. Other tirade I won't even start.
Where we let said rich people deduct their taxes by giving to it's a vicious cycle.
It's a shit show here.
Yep. And so like you were saying earlier, Tori, right? It's like, what can we control? What can we do anything about, right? And it's like, I can't control what's happening in the White House. I don't know if I even have faith anymore in the political system, such as it is, which is sadly, I think, part of the intention of a fascistic government is to make you either you love it so much that you'll do anything for it, or you just like see that it's, a puppet game and it's not real anymore. There's like not actually democracy happening.
Yeah. Right. Well, and the fact that this last election, how terrible our voter turnout was, it's appalling.
And who can blame people for being disenchanted and disenfranchised? Like, what motivates people to get out voting is somebody being so dickish and such a bully because they're just like grateful something got done, regardless of how it got done.
Yeah.
I can't relate there very much. And I also know, like, I'm not even in dialogue with those people. I don't know how to change those people's minds. And I don't think that's my job. Like, my mind is the only mind that I can change. Right. And like, I don't know. After that, it's really about having integrity in relationships. Like putting relationships first, putting the fact that we are human first and foremost before all the other things, and making sure like we are taken care of as human beings.
Yeah. Well, and finding your people,
and that's
because it's more people than you. It's that group of people that are going to be your ride or dies.
Absolutely,
is important.
Yeah.
In life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In that episode with Megan Ekman, we said, find your weirdos.
Yeah. I learned that really early in
Find
my
your weirdos.
career. You know, like I worked with an artist who was a very out there artist, and it was like a very niche thing. And I think it was a gift to have an artist who had a specific niche, because I knew, like, I know where to go and find my people. I need to go find queer people, so I'm going to go to where the queer people are. And it, you know, and like, you can shy away from that, or you can really embrace it. And I think when you embrace it, like, the rewards are manifold when you like commit to a shared identity with a community of people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you're living your true, authentic self, that's when you find like those types of people want to be in your circle, and that's when you feel the happiest. And
and I think that can happen hopefully,
right?
like in a seed circle, and it can happen at a summit level. And like I think that's how we get through this, right? Like, I do heartily believe that that community is the antidote to like all of the things, that when we come together,
I think so too.
We can do anything we want. We are incredible. We are all the things: creative, resourceful, resilient. Absolutely. Like, we have a lot of brilliance. We have a lot of genius and power and strength in our communities. And so too many of us, I think, are living under the mantle of various forms of oppression that really keep us from being able to like be in our brilliance as fully and beautifully as we would like to be. And capitalism certainly doesn't reward being authentic or having integrity or giving a shit about other people. Mm-hmm. And sometimes despite it, like, trying to make businesses happen.
That's not how oh, totally. Yeah. Well, that's not how they meant for the game to be played. And I'm glad that we play it a little bit different.
Yeah. Me too, right? Like, it's like, you could be the jerk or you could be the nice person. And like, maybe that's not how everybody else does it, but like, I don't want to turn into an asshole in order to succeed. Like, and that's, I think, a trap that a lot of us get into in like white supremacy culture and notions of success.
Wow. Yeah. That's a really good point. Because we talk about notions of success a lot and how success looks different for everybody, but I never really thought about it in terms of that, about how white supremacy and the patriarchy really keep that going.
Chasing that's really interesting on like their terms, and then we start to just like turn into them, and then we're like, oh fuck. Well, that's
well, and there's this point of view that you are supposed to be like, I did it all myself. I didn't get help from anybody. I mean, both of you have individually helped me in my business, like just being in space together and like talking through things and giving, opportunities. I mean, I feel like, the patriarchy wants us to be like, I bootstrapped it all by myself and I didn't need nobody else. And it's like, call out the folks who helped you, give credit where credit's due. Talk about,
because they got help too. They got, the truth is that they had privilege that got them to where they were. They had people helping them. They had money. They had a trust fund. They had, whatever it was, all the rich white men who wrote books about how to be successful and became marketing gurus or whatever. They got to where they were because of the platform that they had, because of the privilege that they had. And then their advice to everyone else is to do the exact same thing when nobody else is at that same starting point.
Yeah, like all the folks who admire Bill Gates, he had family money.
Yeah. Like, sure, he built a great company, but like, don't also put yourself in the same category.
Let's all just stop trying to be so fucking unique that like we need to be like the this or the that. You know? Like
right.
Yeah. It's
right.
So
I have a video game analogy because we just finished watching Mythic Quest and Side Quest on Apple Plus, and they were talking about there's all the people who are like the main characters that are going to kill things. The healer is a
Mhm.
very important character. The person who's the support character and goes and like heals everybody in battle. And they're never, put out there as
Right.
like, the hero
So
of the story,
critical.
but
Right.
each person has a place, who has a place and a space, in the team and in the crew, even if it doesn't feel like your
Yeah.
role is important. It really
And like
is.
when we believe so much in our individuality that we become really vulnerable and susceptible to control by other people. And like if you believe that you are alone, then it's
Yep.
pretty easy to get to a fear place, right? Like if you believe you have no support,
Mhm.
it's really
Yeah.
easy to start freaking the fuck out about things because the government's not going to help you. Like, it's so again, like community is the antidote. I think like we really have to stop believing that we are alone and stop believing that we are so unique, even though like I love to be unique as much as anybody else. But there's like a terminal uniqueness kind of problem because we can't all be. We can't. And that's okay. Like I think the idea of hero worship needs to die. We need to really like the idea that a hero is going to save us. Right? Like we can be saving one another every day, all the like it's not out of our reach. It's not like we can't all be heroes, but like in a more low-key kind of way, like we don't need to wait for somebody to save us.
Yeah.
We have
We've
a lot
been
of
kind of
capability
waiting
and
and
a lot of
waiting and waiting.
capacity.
Like the Democrats have been waiting for like new leader with a new vision to rise up, and it has not happened for decades now.
No.
So long.
We're not learning at all.
Yes.
And it's very
The definition of
frustrating.
sanity is like repeating the same
Yes.
things over and over again, expecting different results.
Yep.
Yes, we don't need another white old male president. And we need to stop tearing down women of color that we try to put in that position because that's,
Yep.
so many things get brought up.
So many things.
How they're a good or bad
Her
mother
laugh.
or wife.
Like
and
all they
what does that
come
have
up with was
anything to
her
do
laugh.
with it?
They did not let her
Yes.
laugh.
Yeah.
Who cares?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, her laugh makes me feel that she's fucking smarter than all you stupid white
That's why they don't like it.
that's the vibe
They
I
like
got
being
from
laughed
it.
at, period.
Yeah, I
like
know.
they take themselves so seriously, and it's like their egos are too
totally.
delicate for
Yeah.
people being laughing at them.
Exactly.
Laughter is great
Gosh.
medicine. I realize I laugh
Fantastic
It is.
medicine.
all the time.
Yep.
It's good medicine.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
You
how
don't
we get
laugh, you
through.
cry, right? Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
It is true. Shifting gears a little bit. So we know that you're a fan of our podcast, which thank you. We really appreciate that. And we appreciate your comments and feedback. So what has been one of your favorite episodes lately, or what advice have you implemented in your own business from one of our
Oh my
guests?
gosh, I'm going to have a hard time coming up with something specific, but I know that every time I listen, I get at least one takeaway, if not two or three, that really stick with me, whether it's from one of you two or from your guests. I mean, I'm thinking back to like the guests you had at the beginning of this season who
Naomi.
yeah, a man, and he has a consultancy, and just like hearing him talk I was just like, I felt so affirmed. I felt I was being affirmed over and over and over again. And maybe he has an HR background or he does like leadership work, but he's really about like creating psychologically safe organizations and right, like inclusive environments. And it's really affirming to hear like the things that are just like ways that I have done things are ways that are valid. Also, like when he said, I spend 5 hours every morning, like I just have my time to myself every morning. It's like 5 hours because I have like things I need to do. I was like, I feel so validated right now that I have my 4-hour morning and I can't go anywhere before I have like, because I just have like a series of things that I do that are part of like my day, and they set me up like psychologically and spiritually, and right. And I was like, okay, this is so. I feel a lot of that when I listen to your show, like all the time, is a lot of affirmation about just who I am and how I do things. And I think part of it is like, right, like we are attracted to like-minded people. So like you're pulling in people who reflect your values. And that's why I'm part of this community of entrepreneurs and business people, even though that's like the last identity that I think of generally for myself and like and professionally. But everybody's so full of wisdom. Everybody has such great like things that they've taken away. I think one of the last ones was about somebody. I think she does ops, and she was saying like if it didn't feel good, if the process doesn't feel good, don't do it. And I was like, I really appreciate a person who is operating from that place of like, what feels good in your body? What feels okay and good and supportive to you? That might sound like really woo and out there, but like when it really comes down to it, how much you use a process or a system depends on how good it feels to you to use it, right? And so like, and as a neurodivergent person, if there are any barriers that might keep me or stop me or slow me down, that's going to be a problem, right? And that was like, that was actually like a real mind shift for me to like go beyond like, I want a process that like helps me be more productive. Like, I don't actually care about being more productive. I just want like ease in my life. And thinking about an ops person who can come in and like look at my systems and what I use and figure out a way to like make it work for me, that blows my mind. It's usually systems, right? Like I'm in a system trying to figure out and navigate how they do things, and it might not really work for the way my brain works. And I've actually never had a great system because of that like mismatch and disconnect.
Yeah. I feel like I set something up, it works for a little while, and then I like every 3 to 6 months, maybe be a good year in a certain thing, but my brain figures out a way to ignore
Mm-hmm. It's you got to do what works for you. Yeah. Yeah. The things that I keep trying to implement that don't work, I've finally gotten to the point where I'm like, that didn't work the first time, didn't work the third time. It's not going to work this time. Like, I've got to just roll with the things that actually work with me and stop.
Right. There's some acceptance that has to be a part of that process. Right. And like, maybe also just part of the beauty and the privilege of being self-employed is being able to like work with people who can help you develop a process that works for you and the way your brain works. And like, can just like figure out all the things like your brain is not capable of figuring out.
Right.
This like perfectly tees up my next question, which is like, what rituals, tools, or workflows have helped you, in your business, as somebody who opened up about being neurodivergent and having ADHD? Like, is there anything that's like a go-to for you right now?
It often comes down to very basic self-care. But I know that being self-employed makes it so much more possible for me to take care of myself and my well-being. I mean, it's really basic. It's like, have I drunk enough water today? Have I eaten enough food today? Is my blood sugar good? Right. So just that like basic self-care. I think the morning routine that I alluded to is like part of like my ritual that like I get to have like some time in my day that feels like it's for me, but it also is sort of like setting the tone for the rest of my day. I think of strategic planning actually as a ritual because it's all about intention setting and getting clear about like where you're trying to get to, which is right, what an intention is. or magic, if you want to think about it that way. I found that to be a really helpful tool and like process to just go through, and it usually kind of sets my mind on the right course, right? Like my mind will hold that and keep that information and know where it needs to go and keep on moving in the right direction. Um, there's I've been learning that like, okay, I need a lot of autonomy as a neurodivergent person. I really need a lot of autonomy. I like, right? Like I need my freedom. I need to be able to like move my body how I want to and like be weird and twitchy or cracking my knuckles. Like, I need autonomy. I need to be able to like work the way I want to work. But I also really need structure. And it has to be like, I'm learning actually not that much creates structure. Like I started putting, I have timers on my phone that go off at like 9, noon, 3, and 6. And find that like that creates a little bit of a container that keeps me oriented throughout the day, that if that's happening, and I try to do like take some deep breaths with it and just kind of like pause and really detach from whatever's going on for a moment and take like 3 good deep breaths. And that's part of me training my body to like take deep breaths, because for a long time I really didn't. And so by intentionally doing it periodically, I now find that like I'm getting good deep breaths, and getting oxygenated brain is really important. And if you pay really close attention, you might not be breathing as well as you think you are. You might be holding your breath because you're tense and you're constricted in some way, as I have noticed in myself at times. So like really staying tuned in again to like that basic self-care, my breath, my body, getting out walking and moving my body, and like recognizing that that's as much a part of the work as sitting in front of a computer is, or generating an idea, that like the rest and the relaxation and all the things that I kind of do around the times that I work are in service of me being able to like really show up when I work for those 4-6 hours each day, and be like, to be able to get something good out of it. And then to stop, like when and it's taken me a long time to like not hit the wall, right? Just hit the wall. And I would be like on the floor, like, what happened? I'm in so much pain. And now I don't hit the wall anymore. Like I'm slowing down like way before I hit the wall. And it like, just manage, like basic self-care. And when that starts to slip away, like work doesn't work that well, so I feel like keeping an eye on my well-being is my priority, and that has really shifted, right? Like that's why being self-employed really works for me. And working for other people was not really conducive to my well-being, right? But when I work for myself, I can do the things I need to take care of myself, and not feel any kind of way about it, and not have to like try to negotiate for it or get an accommodation. I can just like create the life that I need to support my well-being, so that I can show up and do good work when I'm able to. It's so boring.
It's really powerful.
It's really boring. It's boring stuff.
But I mean, that's the beauty of this, is you get to design the life that you want.
Yeah.
Being your own boss. Yeah. And I love that you have that awareness of that. I'm going to steal that. Putting the timers on, because
I am too. I love that.
I get disoriented without like certain like things. Like I need to be able to see out my window, and I have a window like right in front of me. I need to be able to see the sky. I need to be able to like check in with what's going on. I feel very disoriented when I'm out of touch with the natural elements. And I think that's pretty normal, like
Mhm.
human kind of experience,
Yeah.
but maybe some
I
of us
love
are
that.
more aware of it than others. And as a neurodivergent person, it's like
Yeah.
ticked up a few notches for me than it is for other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also have a theory that if you are an entrepreneur and you intentionally went out to be an entrepreneur and you're like really loving it and into it, you are probably neurodivergent. Like
It is
I
a
feel like
natural, I
almost
think it
every
is a
single
very,
entrepreneur.
I think we have a very natural aptitude. Like we're generative and creative thinkers, right? So that lends itself to being entrepreneurial. And I didn't think of myself as entrepreneurial for a long time because I was in a mission driven kind of setting. And entrepreneurism and capitalism and
Right.
all of that have like no place in my life. But right,
Right.
like what we need to be right now, we need to be entrepreneurial, right? Like we need to get really entrepreneurial about things and be creative and um, yeah,
Yeah. Be scrappy and try new, like,
anything.
yeah, and
Yeah,
experimental and try new things and not be scared. Because I do think
Yeah.
that the fear and the scarcity and the being scared and the
it's
worrying about
paralyzing.
what if, as long as you're not doing anything, yeah, as long as you're not doing anything illegal, which we all know what illegal is.
Right.
most of us, you know, as long as you're not doing anything that's
Yeah,
breaking the laws, it can
yeah,
be out there. So
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I appreciate your self-awareness to create, you know, the
Yeah.
container of what works for you, because I do think a lot of entrepreneurs are guilty of the going all in gung-ho, you know,
Listen,
pushing through the
if I
pain,
was 10
you
years
know,
younger, if I was
it
20
doesn't
years
work.
younger, I would be doing exactly that.
Different.
And it is literally like
Yeah.
part of my
Yeah.
work right now is trying to figure out how do I get busy without being too busy? How do I like hold these things that are growing and exciting without that burning too high and too hot?
Yeah,
Like how
without
do I rein
overdoing
it
it.
in and how do I temper
Yeah.
things a
Yeah.
little bit so that I can like hold it a little more gently and a little bit more loosely and like
Yeah.
not, because that is my inclination. That is 100% my inclination is to put myself full force into it, and like it's starting to take over my brain, right? Like I'm thinking of this summit all the time because I'm having
Yeah.
conversations every day with people, and so it's just like this really intense
Right.
energy that's like a place I really love to be, and it's exciting, it's generative, I'm getting a lot of positive feedback from people, and also like it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And also it's what, 4 months away, so we can relax on it a little.
But I have these
a
exciting
little bit,
conversations every
the
day, right?
intensity.
No, I think it's very
Yeah.
real that there's a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
neurodivergent people who are like we don't like people telling us what to do is one of the things about us, and so like
Yeah.
we also can multitask. I don't know if we can multitask, but we're good sometimes at like being really good at a lot of different things. I meet some neurodivergent people. I'm just like, you are a Renaissance person. Like, what the fuck? Like, whatever it is you want to learn how to do, you go read a book and you learn how to do it and you do it. Yep.
Mhm. You
And
do it.
every 7 years it
I've been
changes
chatting
because
with
that's also
a
the way our brains work.
yeah,
Like, we get bored after
yeah,
a while and then we're ready to move
right.
on.
Yep.
Yeah. I've been
Also
chatting
very
with
true.
a friend who just started her business, and she's doing marketing stuff, and she's bringing me in like to collaborate on different things, and she's like, "Wait, you don't outsource to somebody else?" I'm like, "No, I do it." She's just like, "How did you learn to do that?" I was like, "Trial and error. Somebody hired me to do it. I figured it out.
Yep.
I went to a training, I read some books, I did it on my own website, you know, like."
Yep.
And she's just like, "Wow, I'm amazed." And I was like, "Yeah, you can do a lot when nobody tells you what to do for 4 years." Like
Yep.
you could play with a lot of
And there's so many
Can learn a
different
new
roles,
skill.
right,
Yeah.
that you have to hold as a small business owner. I mean, I met with somebody who's new to consulting the other day, and she's like, I just realized I need to have like a business, like an actual like business structure and like
Yeah.
infrastructure and bookkeeping and like it's a lot, but also neurodivergent brains love learning. And so I think that's another thing that makes us very naturally entrepreneurial people. I think we were 100% like all of the people who went out sailing ships, like to the, like who would do that but somebody who is neurodivergent who's like, I want to go see what's on the other side. I just got to go see what's on the other side.
Exactly.
So curious.
Exactly.
What's out there? Yeah.
Yeah. This boat can make it. Yeah. This boat can make it, right?
I'm not going to sleep until I figure it out.
I just got to see for myself. Right? Like, yeah, I think, and because we don't thrive in a more corporatized environment that has a very like mono culture to it, right? That has just like one way that things are done, and they definitely are not neurodiverse friendly.
Yep.
No, definitely not. Especially when we have all these ideas of different ways to do things, and then you just get like squished or being like, yeah, no. That's
and
not
like it's a weird thing. I learned this from a show. It's like, you're just naturally a manager, not because like you're necessarily a leader or you're bossy, but like that's the way your brain works. And it's true. Like, I'm a director. That's the way my brain works. I see things like from the top down strategically. And that's just the way my brain works. And like, I don't know why I can see that and why nobody else, or not nobody else, but right? Like, not as many other people do.
Yep.
That's
right.
Yeah. Or even when I describe all the marketing stuff that I do, they're like, wow, that's a lot of things. And it's like, it's less than it was. So it came down. It was a list of like 10 things. It's not.
And then like how narrow would you want that list of things to be, right? I mean, that's self-employed is like one like dynamic kind of like, oh, this is scratching that itch for me. And so maybe now I can go find this other thing that scratches another itch. And yeah.
That's why I love the podcast. People are like, oh, you like editing? I was like, I do, actually. I don't mind it. It's not bad. So it's enjoyable. So yeah.
I love it.
All right, Natalia, we have come to the end of our time. As you know, we are going to make this damn playlist. What is currently on repeat on your playlist that we can add to it?
Guys, I have to admit, like, I am not listening to music that much right now. But could I tell you about an audiobook I just listened to that I really want to listen to again?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, maybe I can't.
Yes.
I don't know if I have my phone with me. Oh golly. I just listened to like a 7-hour book by an Anishinaabe medicine woman who like co-authored a book with her grandmother who taught her the medicine that she knows. And so she's sort of telling like, all the knowledge that her grandmother gave her in her lifetime, and then like overlaid with what she knows about all the medicinal properties of like the plant world. And so the whole book is like trees, and there are all these different like deciduous trees, and here are all their medicinal properties. And of course, like the medicine is everywhere, y'all. Like the whole world around us has so much medicine in it. All the things that each of the trees can be used for, right? And like that are medicinal. And it just, it's like a wonderful reminder that the earth has a lot of the answers, and a lot of what we need is just like right here. We just need to like tune in and listen a little bit. And there's a lot of medicine to be found in our natural world. And I find that very, very comforting when the not natural world is so unnaturally weird. And, you know, to be like grounded in that. And also like, that's a collective wisdom that has been passed down for millennia. And like, they didn't need doctors. They didn't need hospitals. Like, yeah, clearly there were things that it would have been great to have penicillin and steroids for, but you know, like there's still so much medicine and wisdom that is passed down. Like, I mean, and it's global, right? Like all indigenous cultures know what the natural world can do and are in touch with the healing qualities of the world. And I also find that interesting and kind of inspiring that I think like nature as part of its whole ecosystem and process, like healing is part of it. Nature knows how to heal itself and nature does heal. and like can
Yeah.
really recover in pretty phenomenal ways. And this,
Yeah.
so does
And it doesn't need us.
abs
We need it,
right,
but it does
right.
not need us.
But like it's present, ready, willing, and open to like being in relationship with us. All we need to do is like reach out and connect.
Yep.
18.
Yeah. That's why I wish modern medicine, like,
Yeah.
we could go on a tangent on this for like hours, but like I've had such bad experiences with doctors, and I really wish modern medicine would really just merge with
Right.
some of these other natural ways of looking
Yep.
at things, because
And I think it must be much more of a capitalistic endeavor, and that's what keeps them away from like, right, it's about gatekeeping and certification and accomplishment, and like the reality is like every community back in the day had a handful of women who were herbal healers and midwives and knew all the plant medicines that were around. Like there is so much amazing medicine that people aren't even aware of, and it's like right in your backyard. You have peppermint and lemon balm and catnip. You have medicine that you can use. And to be able to heal ourselves, I think that is very disturbing to the powers that be. If we have the power to heal ourselves within rather than needing something outside of us, some hero or savior, that's dangerous to the powers that be.
It is.
That's a really good reminder.
Well, thank you for being on again. I feel like we will definitely have you on for season 3.
Of course.
And we appreciate all your insights and everything you shared. Listeners, if you have any questions for Natalia, we will have all her links in the show notes. And as always, if you have anything that you want to share with us, you can always send us a DM on Instagram, or you can send us an email to aloha@taketheleap-today.com. And we will see you all on the next episode. Take care.
Thank you so much for having
everyone.
me.
Thank you for listening to the Take the Leap podcast. We hope you found useful takeaways you can apply to your entrepreneurial journey. Subscribe so you don't miss future episodes, and keep in touch and follow us on Instagram. If you have business questions, shoot us a direct message or leave us a comment. We'll try to cover it in an upcoming episode. And visit our website, taketheleap-today.com, for more resources like our online course that accompanies this podcast.